Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutation unto the elect. And this is going to be real brief. I wanted to do a quick lesson, all right, scripturally linking, all right, the biblical Edomites to those who called themselves Greeks. All right, now, when you go to Daniel, the seventh chapter, okay, when you go to Daniel, the seventh chapter, in the sixth verse, it says, after this also I beheld, and lo, a leopard, which had on the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. All right. And this is speaking of Alexander in the Greek Empire coming into power. And we know that the 4 wings that were on the back of it are the 4 generals, all right, that put crowns on themselves after Alexander passed away. You see, and that's Lysimaeus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucid. And out of Seleucid, all right, came Antiochus, which put holy hell on the Israelites, along with the rest of them. All right, but, you know, the theme of Jacob and Esau is all throughout the Holy Scriptures. All right, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see. All right, it was even in Esau's rulership, all right, that the Messiah was crucified, although it was wicked Jake, all right, who called on him for that to happen. All right, but you had those Roman soldiers which pierced him. And what did the Lord say? All right, when he returns, all right, he's coming back. Let's get that, you know, in Revelation, the first chapter. And let's see here. In the 7th verse, it says, behold, he cometh with clouds. When he returns, he's not going to meet them as a man, and every eye shall see him, and also they which pierced him. And that was them Roman soldiers, man. And all the kindreds of the earth shall wail before him. And we know he's returning to an Edomite ruled power structure. But when you get Daniel 7 and 6, it talks about that leopard, which is the beginning of this beast system, which is why when you go to Revelation, the 13th chapter, okay, when it tells you about this beast system, what does it start with? Okay, Revelation 13 and 1. And I stood up on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. All right, this is speaking of a rulership. Now, this beast system, as we always tell you, started with the Greeks. Now, when you go to verse 2, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. And we know that's Alexander, and eventually his 4 generals would take precedent. But what did he do when he came onto the earth? He conquered. Even before him, all right, his father Philip conquered. His father was conquering. Okay, and these are the Edomites. Now, with that being said, what I really wanted to go into was when you go to the book, let's go back here. We'll get that in just a minute. When you go to the book of Esther, all right, we understand and know about the story dealing with Haman. If you don't know about that story, all right, you can type in GMS Purim. Okay, and I'm pretty sure a video will pop up and it explains, you know, why we have the holy day Purim, because we were delivered from the plans of Haman. Okay, when you look at it, a lot of our holy days deal with being delivered from Esau, even Hanukkah. Okay, which will show you that when we were delivered from those Greeks, it tells you we were delivered from the children of Idumea, which are the Edomites. Now, right here in Esther 3 and 1, it says, after these did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. So Haman, all right, who we know hated us and wanted to destroy us. And why did he want to destroy us? Because he was an Agagite, going back to Agag, all right, which was the king of the Amalekites. First Samuel 15 and 8. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive and utterly destroyed all the people. Now, this is speaking of Saul, who was given the order to destroy all of the Amalekites. Was that racist? You see? But he didn't do it. All right. But we know eventually, all right, David, Samuel came, who anointed David. All right. And he got rid of him. But ultimately, they were able to, continue that seed line. All right. Because the house of David, all right, under Yahushua are going to get rid of them. All right. As the Lord intended, the whole nation of Esau, Edom. All right. But as you see here, Agag is the king of the Amalekites. Let's go ahead and look up this this word Amalekites. All right. Or Amalek. Okay. Malak. All right. It says dweller in a valley. All right. And it says son of Eliphaz by his concubine. And it's crazy that children by concubines weren't, usually held in high esteem. Okay. Son of Eliphaz by his concubine Timnah, grandson of Esau. All right. Progenitor of a tribe of people in southern Canaan, descendants of Amalek. Okay. So Amalek, okay, you can go back to Genesis, the 36th chapter. All right. And Timnah was the concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and he bare Amalek. Okay. Now, and this is a fulfillment of going all the way back to the garden where the serpent was told that what? Let's get that. Genesis, the 4th chapter. Okay. Genesis, the 4th chapter. Or the 3rd chapter, Salakia. Genesis, the 3rd chapter. And the 14th verse. And Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, which is why the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked. All right. The worst punishment, the worst look. All right. The worst vibe, everything will be given unto this damn demon, man, and his seed. Okay. Thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. And upon thy belly shalt thou go, and thou shalt eat dust all the days of thy life. Meaning you will be a very, very low person. Very, very base. And what did the Lord do? He took the basis of men and set them over the whole earth. All right. For a punishment unto Jacob. Now, as you go down, it says, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman. Who's the woman? Israel. Okay. Whose Eve is symbolic of the nation of Israel. Enmity is hatred, friction. And you niggas are running around with signs trying to figure out why he keeps shooting you. Well, it all goes back to the scriptures. And between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, because the scriptures say we're going to, all right, crush the head of the serpent. We're going to crush the head of the rulers, smite, all right, the head of the heathen, and thou shalt bruise his heel. All right. And they bruised our heel. All right. By taking us down as a nation. That's why Yahushua said, all right, he came to preach the gospel unto the bruised. All right. Those who are bruised. All right. Because we as a nation were taken down, man. Luke 14. Or Luke 4:18, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath appointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, and he hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, and to preach deliverance to the captives, and a recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised. See, in a heel injury, it takes a very, very long time to recover from, but you can come back. Not most athletes come back from that Achilles injury. All right. But we as a nation, we came back from the injury that partook us in the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. All right. And what would happen between them and the earth would be fulfilled through Jacob and Esau, which were twins in the womb of Rebecca. Okay, so when you look at the wars between the Edomites and the Israelites, the Amalekites and the Israelites, all throughout the Bible, okay, it goes back to what was prophesied to happen. Even unto this day, there is friction. Now, going to Esther, the 3rd chapter, okay, in the 1st verse, after these things, that King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. See, Haman was an Edomite, all right, of the tribe of Amalek, okay, which today they're the 1948ers, okay, the ones who pretty much control the world. Now, if Haman had this in mind to destroy all of the Jews at this point, what do you think he would do when he had the fatness of the earth and control of all of the resources and all of the money and the shekels? He gonna try to do the same thing, and that's what he's tried to do. All right, people fail to link what the prophecies say with what's happening in real life. So here in the Persian Empire, okay, you have Haman, all right, because Esau's always somewhere wiggling around, the Agagite, okay, and basically has been promoted unto second in command, okay, within this empire. Now, as you read, Mordecai didn't bow, and there was a big thing, and basically Haman tried to destroy or make up a lie to destroy all of the Jews. Okay, he tried to, convince the king that they were trying to do this and that, and you can read that story. Just look up Purim, okay? Now, we see that Haman is an Agagite, right? Now, we're going to go to the additions of Esther, the 16th chapter and the 10th verse. Okay? What does it say? For Haman, or Ammon, all right, a Macedonian, the son of Hammedatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received us. Now, when you read this, this is a letter that the king Artaxerxes, all right, wrote, after finding out that Haman was full of shit, you see? Because just as right now, Haman, in the form of all of these Edomites in this beast system, are trying to blame, all right, the Israelites for being terrorists, okay, and everything else. That which is then is now, okay? Now Haman has the fatness of the earth and control of the media, okay? So his plan was to formulate a lie to present us as these beasts, but it all flipped and turned on his own head. So when you read this, this is a letter so we can get understanding just a little bit, where he's writing to his province, that Haman, who he exalted to second in command, was full of shit, and he's a demon because he got caught. The spirit, all right, just as it's getting ready to catch you Edomites, and it already has, all right, but you still have a little bit more time, to wiggle around and lie. But it's all going to come back on your own head. And Haman, who had planned to hang all of the Jews by their neck at the gallows, he eventually got hung by his neck. Now, as you go down, let's see here. I'll just go to the point. For Ammon, which is Haman, a Macedonian, see, he called him a Macedonian. All right. And why was he called Macedonian? First of all, let's look that up. Okay. And we know that Haman was a descendant of Agag, which was an Amalekite, but it says a Macedonian. Okay, let's look up Macedonian or Macedonia to see exactly where that is, because that's where the Greeks had conquered. Okay. The so-called Greeks, because these aren't the original Greeks. These are Edomites, but they conquered these regions. An ancient country in Southeast Europe, okay, which was originally inhabited and given to the Japhetic people, which were a dark-skinned people, okay? North of Greece, in classical times, it was a kingdom that became a world power under Philip. Who's Philip II? That's Alexander's father, and Alexander the Great, all right, because it was conquered. The region is now divided between Greece, Bulgaria, and North Macedonia, okay? So as they conquer these lands, okay, they are then what? Called after these lands, okay? Now this is our territory. I'm the Macedonian, okay? Same thing they did over here, okay, and named it America. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amminadab, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, meaning he wasn't of the Persian blood, all right, but somehow, some way, he wiggled his way up to be second in command in that rulership, in that kingdom, and far distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received us, okay? He wasn't of the Persian blood, okay? He was an Edomite, going back to Agag, which was an Amalekite, okay? And where do we find that out at? Right here, Esther, the 3rd chapter. Haman was the son of Amminadab, the Agagite, okay, which were Amalekites, going back to the war, all right, that we had at the time of Saul, Samuel, all right, and David as well. Now, with that line, all right, it says, have so far obtained the favor that we show towards every nation, as that he was called our father and was continually honored of all the next person unto the king. He was second in command, but he, not bearing his great dignity, went above to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceits, okay, because that's the serpent, that's the seed of the serpent, man, sought of us the destruction, as well as Mordecaius, who was an Israelite, a Jew, I believe he was a Benjamite when you go into it, because Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, all right, were still, were ordered to rebuild the temple and all of that. It says, who saved our life and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, all right, partaker of our kingdom with their whole nation. For by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. So they found out that really he was trying to override and become, all right, ruler. He had plans, man. But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch, they called him a wicked wretch, the Persians. And if you look today, even in today's news times, you notice that, Ahmadinejad, who's a Persian of Iran, in the Iranians, they constantly cursing out Esau for what he did to Jake and for slavery. Okay? And they called him a wicked wretch. Have delivered us to utter destruction, are no evildoers, but live by the most just laws, man. And that they be the children of the Most High and Most Mighty living God, who have ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner. All right, because the Medes and the Persians, allowed us to rebuild our temple. All right, and so forth. So you can continue to read this, but ultimately Haman got caught, man. But what you see here is that he is called a Macedonian. All right, Macedonian. Now let's get First Maccabees. First Maccabees, the 1st chapter and the 1st verse. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and the Medes. Okay. Now, Alexander didn't physically put his sword to Darius, but it was through his force that one of Darius's close men said, because Darius didn't want to submit. The Greeks were conquering and destroying, Alexander and, his army. And Darius didn't want to submit. And one of his men was like, look, we got to submit to these niggas. So he smote Darius, right? Showing you that the king, gets, all of the credit for what his men do, okay? Just like through everything we do, who gets the glory? The Most High through Yahweh Shai, and eventually we'll get our glory, okay? Had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead first over Greece. You see that? They were conquering these regions. The original inhabitants of these lands, as you can see, Persians and Medes. Who are the Medes? Are Japhetic people. The Medes are sons of Japhet. Okay? So what happened? Alexander, Philip the Macedonian. Now, who's Alexander? Okay? He's the beginning, of this whole beast system. He's the leopard spoken of, okay, in Revelation. Let's get that. Revelation, the 13th chapter. Okay, let's go over here. First, let's get Daniel, the 7th chapter. And let's prove that these are Edomites. Daniel, the 7th chapter, in the 6th verse. And after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had on the upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. And this is Alexander's 4 generals. Okay, so you see it's likened unto a leopard, which in Revelation the 13th chapter, the beast system that we are currently living in started with the leopard. The beast which I saw was likened to a leopard. So these are Edomites. Okay. Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, okay, showing you he was an Amalekite. They were of that same line as Haman, who was also called the Macedonian. Okay. Haman the Macedonian, okay, who was what? An Amalekite that went back to Agag. Okay, the scriptures are showing you that these are the Edomites, preferably the Amalekites. You see, and you still have people running around with this false doctrine, okay, that Alexander, the Romans were Japhetic people. No, they weren't. They conquered those Japhetic lands, okay? Even more proof that the Greeks are the children of Esau, okay? When you get 1 Maccabees, the 4th chapter, another holy day, okay, is Hanukkah that we deal with. Now, during this whole time, who's putting hell on the Israelites? As a matter of fact, the whole story starts as you go down with one of Alexander's 4 generals was Seleucid. Out of the Seleucid Empire, after Alexander died, it says his servants, which are those 4 wings, okay, bear rule everyone in his place. Verse 9, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, and they had any war. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. See, the scriptures tell you that evils were multiplied in the earth when the Greeks started to rule under Alexander. Now, what does Esau tell you in his school? Civilization started with the Greeks, as if there was no other empires before him. Why is he saying that? Because this is the beginning of his system. So, of course, he's going to big up Okay, his own. But what does the scriptures tell you? Evils were multiplied in the earth. Now, it didn't get real hard for the Jews until this wicked root, verse 10, and then there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes. He came out of the Seleucid Empire because Alexander's four generals, Lysimaeus, Cassander, Ptolemy conquered the Greeks. I mean, the Egypt. Okay, and started putting themselves up as pharaohs, and then you had the Seleucid. Out of the Seleucid came this nigga here, Antiochus, man, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. All right, and he reigned in the 130th year in the kingdom of the Greeks, and this is when Israel was what? Forced to forsake the covenant. All right, and start following the ways of the heathen, man. Exercising naked. They were Hellenized. This is why when you read in the New Testament, it talks about the Greek, because our people were made to follow those Greek customs, but you did have a remnant, okay, of them, the Maccabees, which this whole, chapter is, given that history, who didn't, follow after those ways. Okay, you read about Ptolemy, king of Egypt. See, all of this is true history. You can go into secular history and find this, and it's here in the scriptures, man. And the average person who will tell you that Alexander was an actual person. There's no doubt. Now, outside of the Bible, there's only about 11 manuscripts to prove his existence. But the Bible, okay, has over 20, all right, in the New Testament alone, over 24,000 manuscripts, but it's still being questioned as if it's a real book. And that's just in the New Testament alone. But Alexander, there's no doubt that he's a real person. But the Messiah, there's still this, I don't know. The prophets, I don't know, with all of these manuscripts and post manuscripts. But there you go. Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, which that links back to Haman, okay, who was a Macedonian, okay. But as you continue reading, we're at war with the Greeks, okay, in this chapter, in this story. Now, at the very end, which is where you get Hanukkah, who does the scripture say, okay, that we had a defense against, okay, because we're warring with the Greeks, Seleucid, all right, and these various different armies and men who were coming after us, who were with the Greeks, right? And what does it say? What was the end all be all, man? I start at 60, and at that time also they builded up Mount Sion with high walls, okay, and strong towers round about it, lest the Gentiles, the natural Gentiles, should come and tread it down as they had done before. And now we're building up Mount Sion in a spiritual sense. Okay, the brazen wall. Okay, the holy city, New Jerusalem, the spiritual temple, and they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. Idumea, and a defense against who? Idumea. Who? Idumea. Who? Idumea. Idumea. You can go to Apocrypha only and type in Idumea, and you'll see Idumea in the Maccabees a whole hell of a lot of times, because the Greeks were the children of Idumea. But you had particular who still went after the name of Esau, but you had particular who put other names on themselves. Okay, but ultimately, there's no way around this truth, man. The Greeks were Edomites. The Romans were Edomites. Okay, you hear about King Herod, who tried to put all of the male Hebrew children to death to cut off the Messiah from coming, Who was his father? Antipater the Idumean. Okay? So it's no way around it. Now also, before I end this video, I pulled up, all of the times, that Haman, the son of Hammedatha, which was his father, which this line, is behind the scenes, even unto this day, working wickedness, conquering lands. All right, even back then, this is what they were doing. Why do you think Haman, through his craft, was able to wiggle his way up to second in command, doing what they always do so that he can eventually overthrow that kingdom and become first and set up their shop, man. But he got caught. But here, if you notice, the scriptures made it a point to tell us that Haman was an Agagite, because this all goes back to the story of Jacob and Esau, man. You see? But this is for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. All right? It mentions Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, Esther 3:10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. The Jews' enemy. Going all the way back to the womb. We would be at war with these people, man. Okay, these people are at war with our power and us unto this day. Okay, the scriptures say that the Lord would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. All the way up unto this very day. When Yahushua returns, he's returning to an Edomite rulership. Okay, Amalek being the head of the rule. Okay. Esther 8:5. All right. It talks about how Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, all right, which he wrote to destroy the Jews. See, he wanted to destroy the Jews, man. It makes it a point to let you know that Haman, who was an Agagite, was the enemy of the Jews. Enemy of all the Jews. Esau is our enemy, man. See? But, for the average person reading this, they won't pick all of this up. All right? But we, all right, have that eye salve to where we can see this, man. This has been a war since the womb. Okay? And Amalek is still here. All right, but what was the Lord's plan? For all of them to be obliterated, and that's eventually going to happen under the house of David. All right, now David got rid of, a lot of them that were in that region. Some fled. All right, but eventually they were, because they were still in various other. See, Alexander was an Amalekite, but you just have to put the pieces together. But anyway, Genesis 25. Okay. In 22, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated, all right, from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right, and then when they were born, they both received blessings. And what did Esau say after Jacob got his blessing? Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of the mourning of my father are at hand, and I will slay my brother Jacob. So that's why Haman was pissed. That's why Herod was pissed. That's why Esau is pissed unto this very day. Okay? And that all goes back to the garden as we showed you. Okay? So with that, I just wanted to bring out a few little points. This is all for those who have ears to hear, man. We put the pieces together via the Spirit, all right, which is something no one else on this earth except the men of the Lord are able to do, man. Hopefully y'all were edified. Until the next one, Shalom.